So WWDC happened and there were some great software and products announced. In New Zealand, WWDC is at 5 a.m, so I pulled myself out of bed and took some notes of the keynote. So this is the follow-up video in my WWDC series after I predicted some of what was going to be announced a few videos ago. So let's take a look at some of the most exciting things of what Apple released, as well as what they didn't mention. This might be a long video, so get some snacks and enjoy. iOS 16. You can now customize your lock screen with different color filters, typefaces, and widgets. We've been able to do this on Android for years now, but somehow this seems so polished. There's a new wallpaper gallery for inspiration, you can shuffle the photo you have on the lock screen, your phone now suggests photos to use, and you can have multiple lock screens. Notifications now roll in from the bottom. There's a new section for live activities, which is something like if there's events happening live, you can have a game score, your workout stats, music controls at the bottom of the lock screen in a specific widget like UI. You can now edit messages if you've made a spelling mistake, for example, as well as undo send just in case you realize you've sent an email to the wrong person. There's more SharePlay features, including SharePlay in messages. Live text is now in videos. So basically you can also take text from a video and copy it, put it into a message. There's touch and hold on a subject in an image, and then you can drag it into other apps like messages or mail. Say for example you have a photo of your dog, you can just drag the dog without the background into your messages and send it to friends. Tap to Pay is expanding. If you didn't know what that was, you can basically tap two iPhones together to transfer money from each other to one another. There's also a lay-by-like service which is called Apple Pay Later, which you can have 4 payments over 6 weeks with no interest. There's a redesigned map being rolled out to more countries. You can have multi-stop routing, up to 15 stops on one journey. You can plan a route on Mac and send it to iPhone. Transit cards can now be added on maps, and if the balance is low, it will ask to auto top up through Wallet, which is pretty cool. There's something called an iCloud shared photo library, where you can share photos you've taken with your family members. You can filter them from a certain date with certain people. You can switch in the Photos app to directly send to shared library. There's intelligent sharing suggestions, and if somebody edits the picture, it applies for everyone. There's also this really cool feature called Safety Check, which they've rolled out for abuse survivors. You can review and reset access you've granted to others, and you can stop sharing location, reset your privacy settings for all apps, sign out of iCloud on all other devices, messages and FaceTime you can enable with only on the device you have with you. iPadOS 16. The weather app is finally coming to iPad. Yay! That's all that was announced for iOS 16 and I love it. Just kidding, there are a lot more features. There were some collaboration features that were announced. You can now share a collaboration document from Pages, for example, not just a copy. You can have notifications of changes you've missed. You can initiate a FaceTime call from Pages. I don't quite understand that. And you can collaborate in FaceTime. You can send invites to go to tab groups in real time. And there's a new app which is called Freeform, where Apple says you can bring your ideas to life. Freeform is a productivity app where you and your collaborators can sketch and jot down notes with Apple Pencil, share files and insert web links, documents, video and audio. You can collaborate with others in Freeform. iPadOS, macOS, iOS will all have Freeform. You can now also undo and redo across iPadOS. There's an availability view in Calendar. You can now change file types of documents and other formats. There's now document menus in Notes, Pages, etc. and customizable toolbars in iOS. There are some features that are only for iPads with M1 chips, such as the iPad Pro and iPad Air, including display scaling settings so you can fit more on the screen. You can add additional RAM to your iPad with virtual memory swap, which takes some of the iPad storage and makes it RAM. And Stage Manager is coming to iPad. Oh, did I just let the computer out the box? Oh, I was trying to make a joke about letting the cat out the bag. Don't know whether it worked. About that, we now have macOS 13. They decided to name it macOS Ace Ventura. Anyways, of course, we have something called Stage Manager. It arranges all windows off to the side and has the main app in the center. It's like a window viewer sort of thing. It helps with window management as well as a helpful addition to mission control. You can click on a new app on the side and the other app goes to the side. You can group apps together in Stage Manager, and if you click on the desktop, you can access things on the desktop. Spotlight Search also has some new features. There's Quick Look in Spotlight. Spotlight can now find images in photo libraries and on the web. It can start timers and activate shortcuts. It has a full window now. And about timers, clock is finally on the Mac, as well as weather. Timers are really higgledy-piggledy at the moment, when they use reminders and shortcuts and everything, and so this will help. In Mail, we now have Undo Send and Scheduled Send. There are follow-up suggestions. We've had this in Gmail for years, but it's finally on Apple Mail. It can remind you to come back to a message at a specific date and time. There's updated search with more filters and suggestions. In Safari, we have shared tab groups, as has already been talked about. You can collaborate on tabs live and connect easily within Safari. Passkeys is also really exciting. Apple wants to get rid of passwords and replace them with passkeys. You can use Touch ID or Face ID to log in with these passkeys. They are unique for each website and they don't leave devices, meaning they can't be phished, so you hopefully won't get hacked. They are stored in iCloud Keychain for protection and easy access. Apple has joined the FIDO Alliance with Google, Microsoft, and other companies. You will be able to scan a QR code on your Windows and Android devices to log in now with your passkeys. We now have Metal 3. There are more continuity features such as handoff on FaceTime, which allows you to switch your FaceTime call from your iPad to your Mac to your phone, etc. And continuity camera was released. You can now use your iPhone as your webcam. You can use center stage and portrait mode. Any iPhone camera modes that you have can come to any Mac. You can have a desk view using the ultra-wide camera on your iPhone. You can use it with Zoom, Teams, etc. And there are some Balkan stands for clipping onto the back of your Mac coming later this year. watchOS 9 was also released. It cuts support for the long-time supported Apple Watch Series 3. I don't know why it was supported this long, maybe they didn't overrun, I don't know. We have 4 new watch faces, rich complications are coming to more watch faces, active apps are now pinned to the top of the dock. There's a new Siri UI and a new Share Sheet API. We have 3 new running metrics and new workout views. Heart rate zones finally come to the Apple Watch. Apple hyped over this, but I've had this on my Fitbit for years now. Custom workouts are now also a thing, and routes you do often will automatically be saved so you can compare times. And you don't have to have an Apple Watch to track your steps and calories anymore. iPhone motion sensors now track steps and other metrics. There are new sleep features including sleep stages, which again has been a thing on budget Fitbits for years. There's more heart health features that have been introduced, which you can also track the amount of time you spent in atrial fibrillation, and you can share a PDF with your doctor of AFib metrics and history. As predicted, there's now a medications app. I said this in my previous video with WWDC predictions, but now you can log medications you take regularly. You can have medications reminders, and what I thought, you can scan medications with the camera to add different types. There's notifications for if you add medications. There are critical, serious, and moderate alerts to alert you that, for example, you shouldn't drive or have alcohol, for example. You can now ask family members to share their health data with you. This may help older people. So we better watch out for some great features upcoming. Did you see what I did there? Okay, so there were some rumors of a Mac Pro or VR headset being released. None of that happened. But we did get a new chip and 2 new laptops. The second generation of M series chips has now been released, the M2. It has a really power efficient performance, and it was built with a second generation 5nm technology, and we have up to 100 gigabit a second memory bandwidth. We still have 4 high performance cores and 4 high efficiency cores. There were some graphs that Apple had on screen, but they were really unhelpful and give no context or labels whatsoever. But they are saying that the M2 CPU is 18% faster than the M1, and the GPU is 35% faster than the M1. You can have up to 24 gigabytes of unified memory, although it does come at a pricey cost. You can get up to an 8-core CPU and 10-core GPU. And even though this is not a pro chip, you can still have multiple streams of 4K and 8K playing with the ProRes encoder, which is pretty cool. So with these chips, we now have two new laptops. Let's start with the redesigned M2 MacBook Air. The wedge shape has been replaced with a flatter design. There's a 20% reduction in thickness, but don't be fooled. It's only 0.5 kg lighter than the M1. It's 11.3mm thick. You can get it in silver, space grey, starlight and midnight, which is a great fingerprint collector, by the way. It has MagSafe 3, leaving the two Thunderbolt USB-C ports for peripherals and dongles. It has a liquid retina 13.6-inch display that is 25% brighter. It has a notch allowing for bigger display in a smaller package. We finally get a 1080p FaceTime camera in addition to your iPhone now with continuity camera.
How is school going? You mean like the classes and stuff?
The speakers and mics are now completely integrated between the keyboard and the display. There are no holes now for the speaker. It has spatial audio, and now we have a full height function row with Touch ID. We have the same battery life, 18 hours of video playback. You can fast charge to 50% in 30 minutes with the 67-watt charger, which you have to buy separately. It costs $1,099 USD for the base configuration of 8-core CPU, 8-core GPU, and 256 gigabytes of storage. The M1 model stays in the lineup as a more affordable option. And we also got a new 13-inch MacBook Pro. I did a tier list video not long ago, and I said that this MacBook is a waste, and I ranked it D tier. And with this upgrade, they sealed that deal alright. No need to make an updated video. The A is still at S tier, and this is still at D tier. Basically, all they did is slap a new chip into it. No MagSafe, no notch, no nothing. Even the touch bar is still there.
Yuck!
There is an active fan, but we determined that back in 2020 it wasn't needed. It has an older, worse display with a 720p webcam. It's way thicker than the MacBook Air. The only real pro feature is an extra 5 watt hours of battery life, if you even call that pro. For $12.99 USD for the base configuration, it's a huge joke at this point. It was hyped up, but really there's no change. I was excited in the event, and then I researched and I found there's no difference. So that was my WWDC recap video. Apple have tried really hard this year to give us some good software and hardware. It was way better than last year, where all they were emphasizing was staying connected. Make sure to stay tuned for a macOS Ventura video coming in a few months. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and hit the like button. See you in the next video.